Hi, welcome to A Sold Out Marriage. I'm Tammy, and this is my husband, Aaron. We hope you're all having a great weekend. We're doing a kind of a late video and an early video, but we're doing two videos this week. I'm going to let Aaron kind of break into what we want to talk about today.
Okay, so I just noticed that wanted to apologize. Sorry for the backlight a little bit. We usually do this a little earlier in the day. So that's part of the difference that we are running into today. We are doing this on a different day than we usually do, and obviously a different time of day. Because, well, two reasons. We had exactly what we talked about in the last video. We were spiritually attacked and physically attacked, really. Not physically in our person, but we had a person break into our vehicle and steal, probably to me, like the worst things that a person can steal, which was an ID and a credit card. Credit card, not such a big deal, but then they also stole a phone, which has an incredible amount of information. Of course, we do the best we can to, turn off things and lock them up. But when people steal those kind of things, it's unnerving, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to start by reading a verse out of Timothy, which is, 2 Timothy to be specific, in chapter 1, verse 7. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Sound mind is one of those things I found myself really struggling with when this happened. I guess anybody that has had anything like this happen just feels like their life has been violated. And so, it was difficult for a few days. And this happened a day before we usually do our video. So, and then a day after we usually do our video, I got sick with a head cold. So, sorry, still struggling with it just a little bit. But that just goes right into the heart of what we had started talking about last time, which is spiritual attack. And so those things that really got to me specifically, because it was my phone and card, I guess I can only say the enemy knew exactly where to hit. And so it took me a couple days of struggling through things, and obviously God revealed some major things in me that I realized I really needed to work on. So I spent the week praying and reading verses, which I read the Bible, but I don't usually specifically read verses and even speak them out loud and repeat them and start trying to take in exactly what they're saying to me.
Well, do you mind if I add to that?
Go ahead, please.
Well, I just wanted to add to that that's something that that we've been learning through reading this book that we are reading, a tool that we were given to read by Derek Prince. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting that he said was that we, when we're battling the enemy, we need to be able to battle with our faith, and that it's not just enough to say, that's okay. It's not just enough to say that you have faith, and that's why the enemy should listen to you, but literally using the words from the Bible to throw at the enemy, and that's where the enemy begins to back off, and God is able to, I think, work through that. And so that's one of the things that I can't remember what scripture it is. I'm sure a million of you out there have it memorized, but it's the sword, the shield, all the armor of God. And one of them is the word, and I want to say that's the shield or the sword, but sword. Mm-hmm. So see, he knows it better than I do. But now I understand why. Is because we really are literally speaking words against our enemy from the Bible, and it's not something that we're conjuring on our own. And so I've really taken the advice of that, and I'm trying to just seed that when I'm struggling against things. So that's one of the things that we had talked about on Tuesday, was trying to do that through this whole situation, because we could have handled it, I think, better. I think we could have handled it better as a couple, but at the same time, we learn and we grow, and that's what this is all about. So at the end of the week, we're like, all right, well, we have a lot of things that we probably could have done different, but
Well, and not that it was an excuse, and not that they're part of the enemy's plan, but we had family come into town.
yeah, that was
Family was in town at the same time, so
and
you know,
you were
that
sick.
that took us off of our normal beat of life.
Well, the busyness thing, I mean, it's a card that the enemy uses too, and so it hit us hard. Plus, we let busyness get in the way. We didn't meet about the book that we're reading, so we have to pick that back up again. But that's the whole thing. I think
I lost the app.
Oh shoot, that's right, in your
in my
phone.
phone.
So anyway, this week, that's just how this week is rolled. But that's okay, because that's what we've learned, right? Is over the years that we just pick back up again, and that's what we're doing. So a new week, thank goodness.
So coming closer to the end of the week, as we roll into where we're at today, this second verse I want to read really started to make more sense, where at the beginning of the week it was more sounding like just empty words, really. But it's from Isaiah 59 verse 19. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. And that started to make a lot of sense, because I started feeling at the beginning of the week, right after this happened, like I was being surrounded, like on all sides, because not only were we violated, you know, where was our life violated, but important information was stolen, including, you know, valuable devices, or a valuable device, and the wallet that I really like. But I started facing spiritual issues that just started popping up because of the situation.
Right.
So those things I was dealing with, it went beyond, you know, the break in and losing all that stuff itself, and anyways, it just felt like the enemy was coming at me from every angle.
Yeah.
And so reading scriptures and praying through it, and just trusting, which is one of those things that I tend to have a hard time doing, is trusting anybody, including God sometimes. But by the end of the week, I started feeling better. I started remembering, you know, not verbatim, because I'm not a memorizer of verses very well, but, you know, remembering those words and just thinking about them and putting them into practice. So, you know, that was pretty much the week. You know, obviously being sick and my head pounding through half of the week, and, you know, we were doing our oldest son and I were in a stage show, and so, you know, the show must go on. And so, you know, we just powered through, and here we are. We're still alive. And
Still married.
yes. And, you know, just knowing that God really does, you know, have us in His hands, really. And just we can put the control of the situations, the circumstances, how we're going to move forward in His hands. And so, I don't know, do you have anything?
I think the only thing that
Move on to another topic? Or?
Yeah, well, I think the only thing that I would just add is that from there, so we handled it okay for them. I mean, I said earlier, like, we didn't handle it great, but I mean, in the scheme of things, we handled it the best we could at the time. But I do feel like we've been given tools to do things differently. And I think that I still think that this time the tools that we've been given, that we've worked on over the years, I think we still managed it a little bit better than we have before. And I think some of that is just, I think the communication was it was a little bit better. It was rough, but communication between us this time was different with it. I'm not sure why. But we still need to do like a...
Well, I think we know why. We just didn't know why at the time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the whole spiritual attack thing. Yeah. But I mean, moving forward, we just need to have like a kind of from this whole week, I think, like a sit down state of our marriage conversation, which I think we've talked a little bit about that, but I don't know how much we've talked about that. I think we've given some links in some other videos, but
about the Zoom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably have to give some more details at another time because I don't remember which podcast or anything like that would be on. But state of our marriage, we shortened it to Zoom, and we were doing it on a regular basis a while back, over a year ago. Not that we thought it was unimportant, but we could do shorter kind of coffee break meetings and stuff like that together, just to basically go over where we're at together, where we're at in our life, what we need to plan for moving forward, what we need to talk about as far as what we've gone through and dealt with each other and with life. And so that's a really great way to have difficult conversations where you sit down together and you agree that it's a safe space to talk about whatever subject, whatever topic you need to talk about. And if you have to do something to make that meeting physically safe, or we have to go out for a walk, or if you have to go to a place where most people just wouldn't feel comfortable in having confrontation, do it. I mean, do whatever you need to do, because if there's something you need to talk about, you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's comfortable or not.
Well, and that's what I think sometimes for us now, state of our marriage, I think conversations happen at different times. So I think we actually need to talk about doing it like once a month regularly and put it on the calendar. And we haven't done that for a while, but we also like to use it as kind of a debrief from weeks like this, where things, or even when we've had like phases where suddenly for a few weeks at a time we're struggling with one thing, then we'll be like, hey, can we schedule time to sit down and have a state of our marriage conversation? And so I think we'll probably want to do that soon from this week. And just this last month, it's just been, yes, spiritual attack, but then just busyness sometimes throws us off. And so most of the time throws us off. So we just need to revisit a lot of like putting coffee break back on the calendar, and state of our marriage, and intimacy lifestyles going well. So, I mean, I just think that it's such an important thing when you have a fight. And I don't know that I would classify Tuesday as a fight. But I think...
No, it was despair.
It was despair. Yeah, it was kind of another beast. It wasn't really a fight. It was just, it was despair and hopelessness. But we are going to post this video later this afternoon. And then we're not going to be back on for another video until November, actually. So not this Tuesday, but we'll be back on for another video it's like the first week of November, the first Tuesday of November. Other than that, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Yeah. Okay. Well, have a great week, everyone. We're going to try to have a better one. Have a good one. Bye.